So I suppose it's fair to say when you see these numbers, it's always chilling. But given my experience of the case with my colleagues at Slater and Gordon over the last couple of years working on it, the numbers don't actually come as a surprise, because listening to the victims and hearing what they have to say, you can just know that we're dealing with hundreds of victims. And of course, given that he was abusing over decades, sadly, many of the victims will no longer actually be around.
Well, but this is part of the issue with this, isn't it, in terms of the shock factor? That, I mean, in some respects, none of the information is new or not, but it's the fact that you are looking at the scale of the victims, the time scale involved, the questions over access. It's all been raised before, but the more details you get, the more appalling it seems to be.
That's inevitable, but also necessary, because if any good is going to come out of this horrific story, is that lessons need to be learned to try and make sure that we never have another Savile. So yes, you're quite right, there is that shock factor, but maybe that's a good thing, because if there is complacency anywhere in child protection issues, then maybe we need that big shock to make us realise that we've got to deal with this.
And a major part of the story is really the access that he was able to gain, because perhaps people were sort of in awe of his celebrity status.
Savile was very clever, because he was able to use that to gain access and to get access to places where probably he did not ought to have had access. He was able to manipulate people, he was able to use his prestige, if that's the right word, to get in with the great and the good. So that is one of the ways that he was able to manoeuvre his way so that he could abuse so many young people.
In terms, you say young people, the NSPCC is saying it believes one of the alleged victims is as young as two in all of this. Now, I mean, our understanding was that he was sort of targeting sort of girls of 13 and 17, that sort of age spread. Have you come across any allegations surrounding very young children before in relation to him?
The average age that we have for victims is sort of early teens up to late teens, and a mixture of boys and girls. But there are cases outside that sort of bracket where you have got older young people and also some young people. My take on Savile was that he wasn't particularly discerning, if that's the right way of putting it. I think if the opportunity was there to abuse a child, a young person, he would take advantage of it. I don't think he was particularly focused on who it was that he was going to abuse. If he had that opportunity, he went for it.
Well, a lot of legal work still to be done, and more importantly, I guess, a lot of healing still to be done, it would seem, for a lot of people. Alan,
exactly.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now let's bring you more details on that missing British backpack.